There we go. Welcome, everyone. I hope everybody's having a good Tuesday night. I want to hop on real quick, and I have Joshua Bohannon's Aunt Vickie here tonight, and she's going to come talk and answer some questions about her nephew who has been missing since June 3rd, 2021. And she's just gonna, I've from afar followed the case, and I know a little bit about the case, but I don't really know so much about who Josh was. So I really want to know that as well. So Vickie, I introduce you. I'm happy to have you here to speak on that.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Glad to have you having me here.
I tell you, one of the things that I've been following along, I think since about October, and I think that what drew me in was I was telling you before we hopped on this. My grandma, she was very type 1 diabetic. She was very insulin dependent, and and I'd help take care of her. The family. She was those pesky ones that knew she couldn't have things and still tried to have them. And so it took a lot of us telling grandma, you can't have those things. And so it just really hit me that he was said to have just ran off and without his insulin, without anything. And I think that's kind of what stole my heart. Like there's
Uh,
the
Josh became a diabetic when he was 9, and he wasn't just a typical diabetic that could take insulin and he was okay. Josh had two different kinds of insulin because his pancreas didn't work at all. He had to take a long acting and a short acting insulin. The long acting insulin was the that helped it, like it would be act as a pancreas for him.
yeah.
Um, and he had to have those in order to live. If he he couldn't have survived without them,
There's
period.
no way.
And the thing that Jessica had his insulin bag in her car, she knowingly left him. If she did leave him, knowing left him, took his medicine with her, knowing he couldn't survive without it.
So even if he did run into what, she didn't even leave that there for, say, if he were to come back once he thought the coast was clear.
Yeah, she would have, or Josh would have figured out. He would have went if he was able to get to a person or flag down a car or whatever. He would have done it to call us because he knew he couldn't survive without his insulin.
And that's why I think it's very important to kind of talk about who he was because, say he did walk away, he would have gotten a hold of you by now. And I think knowing about who he was he a very big family person? Was he there for everybody? Was he in contact with people constantly? I think that stuff matters, who they were.
He would have called his mom or Jason or me. Even if he was out in town and didn't have the money to buy food and his sugar ran low, he would contact me and say, "Can you cash out me $10? I'm in town. I need something to eat. My sugar's low." Or he would even go into a store and say, "My sugar's low. I need some orange juice or I need some Skittles or something to bring it up. I don't have the money to pay." Uh, he was on top of his diabetes as far as he knew how to take care of himself if his diabetes was a factor, if it was, there. He knew how to take care of himself, but he had to have his medicine to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she
Definitely.
didn't even leave him his billfold. She has his billfold with his identification in it.
Which there would have been no reason why he wouldn't have had that on him if he would have, even if he would have walked off from that spot. So
She
I guess from following along, one of my biggest questions were, first, when was the last time that you seen Josh or talked to him yourself?
uh it was probably a couple of days before he went missing, me and Jason had talked to him.
Okay.
Jason had lived here with me, um, and me and him actually, the day before, Jason, I think it was the day before, Jason sent Josh a video of his mama, and Josh never opened up that video or even contacted us back um, the
Did you?
day before. And when um, I took Jason to work that day that Josh went missing, he kept telling me, Aunt Vickie, I feel like something's wrong with Bubba. This ain't right. He said he kept on saying, I feel like something's wrong. Something's happened to Bubba. And I said, oh, he'll be okay. Uh, he'll get in contact with us, you know. But Jason had that feeling that
And
the
this when was this?
the day he went missing.
The very day.
Yep, he sure did.
So
In
when did
which
you first?
Jason and him were inseparable. I mean,
Okay.
they were like
Yeah.
mom and like he was his parent. Jason was like that to Josh, and Josh was like that to Jason.
So he would have knew. He would have known.
Yeah.
He,
And anytime Josh or Jason needed each other, they would reach out to each other. Hey, come get me, get somebody to help me, or whatever. They would contact each other. That's just the way
there's
they
just no
were.
reason that he would just leave and not get a hold of somebody by now.
And Jason had told Josh like a week before, or maybe 2 weeks before, he said, Bubba, if you don't get away from her, you're going to end up dead. And he told him that.
Now I don't know much about her. I know I've heard some things. But what would make you, oh, well, let me ask you this. When you first found out Josh was missing, what was your first thought and instinct?
At first I thought I
Was it credible? Did you think that it was a possibility that he could have?
no, I never dreamed it in my life.
No.
It wasn't Josh. No
Yeah.
matter how much, if Josh was in trouble, he wouldn't have never done this. He wouldn't have never ran. Um, I mean, he had a petty charge. It's a VOP, violation probation. And
I,
he got sick like a couple weeks before that and got sent to the hospital by ambulance. And the county wouldn't keep him then because it costed the county too much money. They wouldn't take him. They let him go because he called me to come pick. We're going to take you to jail for your VOP. And he said, no, they don't want me. So me and Jason went and picked him up at the hospital. Sure did. But if they had took him, he'd be here today.
it would be,
He sure would have. It's just, uh,
so
it's,
now, oh, I think, is there an echo? I think everybody's saying it's hard to hear because there's an echo of some sort.
is there an echo on my end or?
I think it's when I come through to talk to you.
Let me turn mine down a little bit. I may have it up high. Is that any better?
Let me see. Let me talk. Is that better, you guys? I'll let you know. They'll come through and tell me. I think I still hear it a little bit back there, but it's not as bad.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Better?
I can hear you. It's on my end. Let me see. I don't know how. Is that better? Vickie, you talk real quick. Can everybody still hear Vickie? No, see.
Kim, can you hear me?
Let me see if I turn mine down.
It's only on your end, they said.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Is that better for you guys? I turned mine down. Okay. Oh, so it wasn't. I'm not good at this technology stuff. I would have swore it was coming through your speaker. So I'm glad I'm glad we figured it out. So
Okay.
one of the big things I wanted to ask you about is of that day. I what I heard and what I've seen and what I want to clarify, and that's a big thing that I want to do when I do these, is take what's out there and kind of clarify it a little bit. On the day that he went missing, what there was a few places they stopped at. She said that they went to some gas. Was there ever footage of that? Was that
There was
ever
only at the Gulf station on Spring Street.
do
Josh
you,
and her were seen on a video.
and do you know about what time that was?
It was just a little bit like 10 minutes after 9 or something like that morning.
Morning.
Mhm.
Okay. And so when was the report coming in? When it first realized that Josh was missing?
Uh, Now, she didn't get a hold of us till like 4 something that evening. But the park ranger had said that she was down there between like 11:15, 12 o'clock. Um, she was seen on a door cam at 2 o'clock where she was trying to get in a house.
Just her?
Just her only. The
Mm.
lady that um, owned that house or was the neighbor of that house or something approached her, and she told him that she was looking for power washing jobs, that her husband was down the road working. This was when Josh was supposed to be missing.
Yeah.
Um, so we didn't know. It was almost 5 o'clock that evening before we knew anything at all.
Goodness.
And usually, if something, see, we didn't know it happened earlier that day. We thought it was like that evening.
That's
And
what
we
I
thought,
thought.
well, Josh will be calling us here in a few minutes, you know? And we didn't, because after she had the altercation with Josh's mom, she jumped over a fence and went missing for 10 hours.
Mm.
So we don't
So from the footage at the gas station and from what the ranger's saying, there's still about a 3 hour gap there. That is that has that ever been accounted for?
know. No. She said that they went, after they left the Gulf station, that they went to the parking ride on 111 and slept. And but she has no way of confirming that to us, and that Josh woke up and wanted to go to Burgess Falls. Uh,
So pretty much anything after that gas station footage is hearsay on her part, just coming
yeah,
straight from her
yeah,
testimony.
in which I don't believe anything she says. At first, we was all trying to give her the benefit of the doubt,
Well,
thinking
yeah.
that she was telling the truth. Uh, but she didn't put any effort into trying to go and search for Josh or wanted to go search for
Was
Josh.
there any urgency on her part?
No, no. And when she was in jail, she when she was in jail, she called, and first she said he was with a colored guy. And we asked her this guy's name, and she said that she gave us a guy's name that was in jail, that was carcerated, and we didn't know if Josh ever had any dealings with him. Uh, and then she told a police officer that she left him at a gas station. And then she told, uh,
Wow.
then she said at that house. And then when she was on the phone from the jail, she couldn't tell us. She kept on saying it was a yellow house, a gray house, and it ended up being a brick house. Uh, So here we were going down there looking for a yellow house, a blue
Oh,
house, a
yeah,
green
those are
house,
very big,
and
differences. That's a big.
yeah. And then she was saying that she left him in a basement. And then she tells the cops that he ran out the back door. Uh, I even have a notebook of where she wrote in it, this notebook. She wrote in this notebook, and I found that notebook when she left my brother's house. And she wrote in that notebook that Josh was in the basement. She told the cops that Josh ran out the back door. So she told all lies about that. And then when I caught her on the phone with Nathan, she told me that Nathan was like her brother. She hadn't seen him since he was a little kid, and I have the text messages to prove that too. And that um, he shouldn't be talking to her that way, and she was going to make sure that he wasn't going to talk to her that way anymore. She was married to Josh, and she loved Josh, and if she wouldn't be staying with his family if there was anything any different and all this stuff. And she told Nathan the very same thing because I have those messages also where she was telling Nathan what she told me. Well, for her to think that he is like a little brother to her, then she goes sleeps with him, and then we found out they were supposed to had a little affair in December of the year before, but we found out it was in June or July of the year before. We found that out today. And
So I was gonna. That's one of the things I was gonna ask you. She from her account, and tell me if I am anywhere not correct here. They were going to this abandoned house, and they were breaking in, and from what I gathered, she said, what was the reason why that she gave why he left there, why this even happened in the first place? Like,
she said that they were going to the park and they seen this house and they pulled into it and they uh, was breaking into this house and they was inside of the house, and she said Josh heard said he heard somebody pulling up, and she went around to meet. She seen it was the park ranger, and she went around to distract the park ranger, is what she said. And she said Josh took out and ran into the woods. Well,
would
in
Josh have left her there to, take the fall? Would he have
no,
ever done that?
no, and he wouldn't have. My thing is, I don't buy what she's saying now
I
because she
don't
lied
think
to
he was
me
ever there.
about.
That's what I was going to ask you. What proof? Because the park ranger never seen him. Did he ever
The
get the feeling that anybody else was there with her at
No, and the park ranger said she didn't seem like incoherent or not herself, or he would have investigated it more. Uh, that she didn't seem like she was wild or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
She act like she was. Um, because she acted like telling everybody they was like animals. Well, if they were like animals, don't you think that the park ranger would have picked up that they were like she was like an animal? Look, I mean, if she was out of it, he wouldn't have let her drive.
Yeah.
And if he had done his job, she had warrants on her.
Yeah.
You know, if he had investigated a little further in it, he would have seen she had warrants on her. Shorty didn't even have a driver's license.
So after it all came out, and it was officially, aware to everybody that Josh was missing, and you guys went to officers, what did they do? What did they say?
Me and Jason went to Putnam County, and I told them where this house was. Burgess Falls is on the line of Putnam County and White County. Uh, I told them that it was at a house that belonged to Burgess Falls, but we didn't know all the information at the time.
Right.
So they told me I had to go to White County. So I went to White County, and when uh, the guy took Josh's name and all that stuff, so we never did get no cops to come out, nobody to search or anybody that.
They didn't go out to that house?
No,
They didn't
nobody
take any
came there.
fingerprints to
No, but we went back to the park rangers, and the park rangers are the ones that started searching for Josh there on the grounds. And then we wasn't getting anywhere because we had searched all weekend. And so I contacted Eddie Ferris and told him, I said, please call me ASAP. And he did. And I told him what was going on. And he told me and Jason to come to the sheriff's department. So we went to the sheriff's department and made a missing persons uh, thing with him. And that's the day on June the 7th, he posted it on the sheriff's department's page that uh, Josh was missing and we were looking for him. And nobody still didn't come and help us search or anything until like a couple days later. They did send some officers out there to talk to us. Uh, I can't remember the date of the first search, but they did do a light search, like 25 to 30 people. Um,
How far out did they go? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh,
I do know that um, one of the officers from White County, or the detectives from White County, told us that it wasn't an intensive search because there was like underbrush and there was places that they couldn't see because of all the thickness of the
yeah.
woods. Um, so, to my account, they have turned it back over to White County, uh, and the sheriff there, Steve Page, and one of the detectives have been really wonderful with us. Um, they're working on some stuff. Uh,
Good.
there's a lot of things that I can't say,
Oh, yeah.
but they did February 5th. They did a big search for Josh. They brought in multiple counties and they had uh, multiple cadaver dogs. Uh, I mean, there was detectives that came in from 6 hours away from Greene County here in Tennessee. They was from all surrounding counties here in Tennessee. They came, um, and they did do a search. They did not find anything. Um, they said either Josh got away from the park or he was never there, period. There is no signs of him. In which I know that the park searched for Josh multiple times down there when they didn't have um, one one of the park rangers that was there. He's not there no more. He moved to a different location. But when he was there, he did form searches for Josh when they didn't have nothing else to do on their spare time. And there was times that he came on his days off and searched for Josh.
Yeah. And there are very good officers and investigators out there that they do take the time. They do their job, even with little information. And
They,
they're not all bad. I know I give them a hard time all the time, but there are a few good ones out there.
yeah, if they're bad, I'll tell you they're bad. If
Hmm.
they're being mean, I'll tell you. But if they're going to be cordial and nice, and I think we should give them the respect that they
Yes.
deserve. If they're going to help somebody,
Yes.
because that's what they're hired for, is to help us.
I
Um,
had I had somebody. I'm gonna go a few questions here so we don't get too far behind here.
okay.
He didn't have a warrant until after reported missing, though. Is that correct?
No, he had a VOP before he went missing, but The county didn't want him because it costed them too much money to house him because he was sick. He had not only did Josh have diabetes, he had osteomyelitis of the spine. He was supposed to have been having spine surgery, and he had neuropathy real bad on his feet. And Josh couldn't have walked a half a mile. He couldn't have walked far at all. He couldn't have ran because when he, me and my sister and Jason, his mom's apartment was getting painted, and we were packing up the stuff, and Josh was there. Uh, Josh couldn't even pick up a trash bag that wasn't even half full.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how weak he was.
And I just know dealing with my grandma, and how she could have been, she was very insulin dependent. If we were going out to eat, she had her insulin. She had a very, like, for as chaotic as she was, did she eat her candy? I mean, we would go in grandma's room and find tubs of peanut butter she would hide because and things that she knew that she wasn't really supposed to have. And but did she know her routine? Yeah, at 5 o'clock, right before she knew that it was dinner time, she knew she would have to take her insulin in the morning, and she had a set routine.
Hmm.
So it's just he couldn't have gone far, and that's my point. He couldn't have gone far without that routine,
Mm-mm.
without taking care of himself that way.
No, that Lantus is something he had to have every day.
Yeah,
Every day. Well, his long acting insulin or his short acting insulin, he had to have two if he ate, but he had to have Atlantis every
yeah.
day. I mean,
He
that's
wouldn't
not
have
something you
gotten
just
far.
passed up because then he would start DKA, because he didn't have his Lantus, which builds up ketones in your system, and you can die from that, which a
With
lot of
I
people
remember
don't
growing up
understand.
with
Uh,
grandma, there would be times where, I remember she would pass out on her recliner, and I would have to go in the kitchen, and get her to eat a banana. I mean, once it starts happening, it's such a fast process if you don't get to that immediately.
yeah, Josh had multiple seizures. He had a lot of seizures. When he was 11, he DKA'd, which is where he was kicking ketones. Uh, and he came to me and told me he was dying. And I said, well, we were going to the doctor. And I said, well, we're going to the doctor. It'll be okay. Which I didn't know a lot about it then. And
Yeah.
he said, no, I'm dying. And so I throw Jason in the car without shoes, and we head to the hospital. And within like 20 minutes, we're in an ambulance headed to Nashville, and he was in critical care for 4 days on an
Hmm.
IV and morphine drip, on an insulin
Yeah.
drip and a morphine drip. And see, I didn't know how crucial that
We
was, but
keep
we
it.
were just learning the diabetes at that point.
Hmm. It is, and that's why I want him. And that's why I guess when I heard Josh and what happened, I was just like, no way. There's no way. There's no way.
Mm-mm.
And the more I learn about it, it started to make sense. Because yeah, you get those people that do run off and want to be gone, but I mean, Josh is a little different, and the fact that he didn't take those things, even if he did choose to leave, it's alarming. Those are red flags everywhere. So I,
Well, that and the day uh, when they were down there searching on February 5th, when they were searching, I get a message while they were searching. I get a message and somebody's telling me Josh is in a basement. Uh, and they tell me that, they started talking about the money and all that stuff. But they tell me Jessica's innocent. Um, but I felt like it was Nathan because of a lot of the way they wrote things. And I go back and I look at Nathan's handwriting and the way he said things, I think it's Nathan.
and you guys know these people. You know them. You know how they
Mhm.
speak. how they don't speak.
Mhm. I was trying to see if anybody had any questions on here.
How many days? So I seen somebody ask when the first search, and I seen this come up from Paula. It says June 6th is the day Ken Hall came to search.
Yes, he is. June 6th. Ken Hall is in search and recovery out of Monterey Lions Club. He's a retired 25-year veteran police highway patrol. Um, and he brought people to search with him. He even brought a man that were actually worked for Jimmy Carter. And that's what he did, was find missing people. He said he's found thousands of them. And the park ranger wouldn't allow them to search the park. And that's
Did
what
they
they
ever give
did.
a reason why? I've
No,
noticed.
he treated those people like they were the criminals. It was weird.
I
It really
seen
was.
this. I'm sorry, I'm bad at popping these up, guys. It's a learning process, I promise. I appreciate that. I just wanted you to know that people are sharing. They're getting it out there. And I think True Crime Tribe for doing that. Um, I'm just seeing if they're here we go. There, I thought I sent, and his aunt lives 2 miles from Burgess Falls. He would have walked there if she left him in that area.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I did not know that.
Paula Paula is my sister, the one that's on here. She lives within 2 miles. Actually, she lives, it would have been like 3 doors up from that where Jessica was seen breaking in. Uh, so Paula lives down there. Josh knew it. I mean, he would have went to her house. My other sister lives on up the road on Burgess Falls Road and has insulin. Her husband is a diabetic. And if Josh needed it, he knew where to go get it.
Wow.
Because actually Doug and Brenda has helped take care of Josh. So they would have made sure that he had got his insulin. And there's one thing I want to address. Uh, when the sheriff's department banned our family and the people on the group, I have no idea why they banned us because we never went to the sheriff's department. Yeah, Alicia called, but what any mother wouldn't call
Yeah.
every day of the week wanting to know about her son. Uh,
See, I was going to ask you that. I seen that. I was wanting to confirm if that was true or not. I seen that and I was horrified.
uh, Alicia went once. The only time I was there is I went once to file the report, once to take Jessica there, and once to go get a report, the missing report. That's the only times I've been there. And the only times I called and left Eddie Ferris. No, I didn't call then. I messaged him on his phone and asked him to call me, and he blocked me. Um, and then I talked to some of the detectives there when they called me. I'd email them if I needed something or had any information. But for them to ban us, I have no idea why they even did that because we didn't. It's not like we were up there every day of the week.
Would you consider yourselves as being disrespectful? I don't think you are, but just as them as, but were you guys up there with your pickets and your axes and your swords and
No, no.
so there's
Uh,
just no reason.
I mean, no. I know. Josh's mom called up there a lot,
Well,
and I
that's
mean,
not.
and I think one of the reasons they done it was because they was getting a lot of calls from the um, people from the group, which ain't got
Well, they
nothing to do with
should.
me. Uh,
That's just
it's a
how.
free world. It's a freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Um,
It's called bringing awareness, right?
yeah, and they didn't like us having the group to begin
Yeah.
with. Uh, and they didn't because they said it hindered the investigation, about like they're doing your thing
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. But I
Uh,
just say, well, what are you guys doing? Then show me. And I'll stop.
and well, no, if it was true, then how did Gabby Petito's case get
Yeah.
solved
And their
from the
parents thank
internet?
them. And that's why I started my page is I was in a big group and I followed behind that. But, she got so much spotlight. And one of the last press conferences he gave, he looked directly and he thanked the media. He thanked the internet, the YouTube channels and the Facebook. But then he also looked at everybody with a camera and that was willing to get behind one and said, we all had a job to do. Now go give the spotlight to every single family. And that is literally exactly why I made my page. Because I may suck at it right now. I'm much more of a behind the scenes person, but yeah, I you take the camera and I will go give that to all families now because he was right. If you go watch that, you will see the pain, and he's in your guys' club. He understands you guys now, and he gets
But
that.
you know, just like Lisa or Caitlin's family or Josh's family or any mother that's dealing with the loss of a child, they would not be a normal person if they didn't reach out to them and ask, what are y'all doing about my child? What have y'all done about him missing? Why ain't y'all questioning the person that's done this?
And I just think the way they respond to you, I mean, if they want to chalk up not answering as to they're busy, that's fine. But when they do answer, the way they speak to you guys is just disgusting. And I don't
Well,
know how they have those jobs then.
they want to shut you down. They want you to be because they don't want the bad in the community to come out. They want only the good,
Yeah.
and that's the reason you only see the good pictures on the pages at the sheriff's department. You don't see nothing bad unless they make a drug bust. But a missing person or a murderer
Is
is not bringing any money to their department. But it's costing the department money is the reason they don't want to put to invest their time in it. Does that make sense to you?
oh yeah.
If you were an addict or if you was out here selling drugs, they make money on you. But if you're missing, it costs the county money to go look for you. Or if you've been murdered or somebody's done that, it costs the county money to investigate that. And they're not getting back anything from it. So that's the reason they don't want to put no time and effort in it.
Which is horrible. And
And
but
it's,
it's true.
yeah,
It
which
very much is.
I hope to God they do go get all these drug addicts and the people selling drugs and these fake drugs. And because I can name a lot of names right now that sold them to Josh and Jessica.
And that's the thing I feel they say, they want to do the drug side of things and it's all about the drugs, but you don't really see too many big fish getting taken down. It's just they're always on the verge. And I know that they have their break-ins and their investigate and they do, but I'm just saying in the grand scheme of things,
Yeah,
it just doesn't really see that their money going that route is making much of a difference. So they could put it to a better use on finding these missing and murdered unsolved cases. That's just my opinion.
yeah. And if we don't speak out for them,
Yeah.
I mean, they're gone. They can't speak out. So we have to be their voice. If we don't be their voice, then they don't have a voice. That's just like Jessica. She got moved from Overton County. She did get charged with that house that she broke into down at the park. But she's already done her time in Cookville. And then we found out today that She done her time. They transferred her to Crossville. They dropped all her charges in Crossville. She don't even have to pay a fine from stealing from Walmart. So can we just go steal from Walmart and our charges get dropped? So now that she don't get charged for, or they dropped all those charges, Sparta can't violate her, so she won't be going to Sparta. When she gets out of Livingston, when she's done with Livingston, she'll be getting out.
Mm,
So she's in there for failure to appear. She'll probably have a 10-day, a capias, and then she'll
yeah.
bond out of there.
Has there's a good question here that I've always wondered. They haven't interrogated Jessica or any of. She was the last person to be with Josh. This would be the first thing that would happen to anyone else. They never interrogated.
They tell us that they have, but she sticks to her story. Uh, and I've been told, because she wrote her story down in this book of days accountable, who she talked to on that day and all that. And they say that anybody that writes down their story is trying to memorize the same thing. So she, they told us that they did, and they told us there have been multiple people that did interrogate her, um, but she just won't break. So, and they told us that they went and talked to Nathan. Well, I don't know if they went and talked to Nathan or not. So,
So there was a question I was gonna, and that was unclear. So Jessica at the time, was she having an affair? Just flat out. I mean, you don't have to.
mm-hmm.
Was she having an affair?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't. You would think that that would be an incredible place to start with motive. What just in general. You've
See, she got in December of last year. Um, she went to jail in Livingston. Her and Josh did, and she got out. Well, they both got out, but she got out before Josh did, and uh, she went to. I'll tell you something else in a minute. Somebody text me something. Uh, she got out, and Nathan's dad is the one that got her out. Um, and she went and stayed with him. Well, we didn't know where they were or where she was for 3 days. We
oh
didn't know where
wow.
she was at all. And she was with Nathan. That's where she was. And I'll post them because I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll post them on the page because I don't care anymore. I've got where Nathan told me that they was together in December and that her old man was in jail. That's what he said. So, yeah, they were together.
Now, does investigators know this?
I've told them that.
Yeah.
I've told them. I've sent them the messages. I've done. I've got a book full of messages in my phone. Uh, you could write a story on.
And I mean, it just makes you wonder what is credible then? What is considered credible? What is considered hearsay? Because what's direct then? As I was saying in my video earlier on the Gainsborough for, the lines are getting blurry, I guess, on what they consider to be credible, at least in Tennessee. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Because
Uh,
that just seems to me that it would be pretty credible motive, reason to at least look into it, to give her a second look right there alone.
well, number one is she lied when she said she didn't have no more feelings, but to Nathan just as a brother, and that was in June when Josh went missing. She tells me this. Number two, July 31st, she moves in with him. Uh, she moves in with Nathan. And then number three is when people on Facebook start calling her out to that she didn't have a, or she had a boyfriend, and then her sister gets on there and says she don't have a boyfriend. Number four, Nathan posted the picture of him holding her, and now she was, her sister saying she is all happy for her because she was finally happy. And then her sister, how they would always use Josh in the past tense. They would always use him in the past tense. And I even went back and read some of Jessica's messages because I do have access to her thing because she left it open on my Facebook or on my phone.
Yeah.
I went back and read some of her messages, and just like a couple of days after she got out of jail, she was texting some guy. She said she had already said, "I lost my husband," and she's sitting there talking to him about something. I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't nothing negative. But she said, "I lost my husband." I'm thinking, okay, this was just a couple of days after she got out of jail, and she was already saying that Josh was dead,
Mm.
and this was just like 3 weeks after him missing. So, and they always used Josh in the past tense. And her dad, and I have a video or a video, a recording, I should say, of her dad telling us to go talk to Jessica because she knew where Josh was. Her dad said, "Go talk to Jessica. She knows." And I've gave that to the cops too.
So as of right now, I know you said that with all of this information, I guess, I know you said that there were some things that you can talk about, and that's not what I'm asking. I'm talking about right before I guess you found out this information. Were you under the impression that they were doing anything? Really taking it serious, really like listening?
Um,
Or
no, I
or
don't.
were they secretly doing something and you weren't just able to be privy to?
I had heard they'd done some things, uh, but then there is
I
the
mean,
time.
regardless of what I'm saying, no matter how they spoke to you guys and treated you guys, there's no
That,
excuse ever for that. It's disgusting with, you know.
and then you have some of the cops that came and like he was a nobody. Uh, who in the hell we're looking for? Somebody that's running? Why in the hell do you want us to look for him? That's what we were told while we were down there searching. And we did call 911 a couple of times when we were down there just to try to get people to come and help us. Sure did.
Do you have do you have are you hopeful now with this new information? Is it at least giving you hope?
We have got some, uh,
I mean, just even the new what the stuff
even
that you said
we
that you
have
couldn't.
3 or 4 different things that's came in that they are investigating. So I do have some hope that it will lead us to Josh. Uh, I know it's all in God's timing, but
Absolutely.
we will find him because I won't give up. You know, this is the way I see it. Jessica, I feel like Jessica wanted to start a new life, and I'll tell you why I feel that way. Uh, Josh is gone. She got put in jail. She signed her kids over to DCS. Um, so she don't have no part of Josh in her life anymore. Uh, And then she gets in front of a judge in Crossville and tells them that she needs out because she needs to go look for her husband.
Oh, wow.
And she's using Josh to get out of
Yeah,
jail when she never ever stepped foot to look for him. I tell you what, I find out she has done this to Josh or had anything, she won't live a peaceful life because I'll try everything I can to put her behind bars. Her daddy with him for selling the fake drugs. Because if we don't stop him from selling to anybody else, this could be somebody else's kid out there.
absolutely.
Because it didn't bother him to take their $2,800 stimulus money. That's where all their stimulus money went to, was him. And Jessica told me that with her own mouth.
It is just unimaginable.
Does anybody got any questions they want me to answer?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I have one while after you asked that. Did they ever do, you said that she had a vehicle there. Was that ever searched? Any fingerprints, DNA, anything from that vehicle?
No, on June, um, let's see, I think it was June 8th, her sister posted to her daddy that she cleaned that vehicle up and cleaned her house out. And then on that very same day, June 8th, at 5 something in the morning, there was on Crossville Man Cave, there was a post that was made, like Josh had made the post, for a cricket, to sell a cricket for $200, or a circuit, or whatever you call them. But there was a post on June 8th, and Jessica was in jail then. So I don't know how that post got on there. And Josh was missing. And it came from it was made in the Crossville Man Cave.
Jen said, "Was there a man in question?"
Was there a man in question? Just Nathan
Yeah,
that
I think
I
that was
know
the
of.
only one that I've ever. There wasn't more than one, and she wasn't
No, just Nathan that I
just that
know of.
one that came.
Just Nathan.
At least thank you, Vickie, for standing tall and not backing down. Josh needs to be with his family. There's a lot of support, sending you so much love and support.
No, Jessica never did ask us personally to take her down there. She never did to take her down there to look for Josh. She never. When we went down there, one day I told her we was going to look for Josh. She gets out and stands in this yard, and I cross the street because I tell her that we hadn't searched that field, which we hadn't. She didn't come over there, and I said, well, I guess he's not in this field because you ain't coming over here to help. And even the park ranger talked to her. She never cried or nothing. She never. It was just crazy how and you could ask her questions about, because I told her, I said, we need to go over because I drill her and get her in a car, and I take her to, let's start over from that day and let's go your steps. I said, "Did you go down I-40 to go to Burgess Falls, or did you go down 111 to go to Burgess Falls?" And she snapped on me one day and she said, "I don't know, and I've told you."
She would know.
And I said, "Well, it's just funny to me that you remember everything else, but you can't remember if you went down I-40 or 111." Because I was trying to get, okay, if they went down I-40 or if they went down 111, then we need to be backtracking which way they went.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's very important.
And she couldn't tell me that. And she got so she's got so messed up that she couldn't tell us, but she was telling everybody that she was so messed up on drugs, and she passed drug test over at the jail when they incarcerated her the day after Josh went missing. And she didn't, the only thing she had in her body was Subutex, Suboxone, whatever that is. She didn't
Yeah.
have Xanax. She didn't test for that. And she had to take a drug test because she was on probation, is the reason they drug tested her.
I see.
Because I asked that question. I said, "Why'd y'all drug test her for?" "Because she's on probation."
Mm-hmm.
So,
At True Crime Tribe asking Vickie, what is your gut feeling of the scenario of what you think happened? I know it may not be an easy question.
I've got a couple of scenarios. One, either Josh did OD or his sugar bottomed out and he died. And she freaked out and got rid of him thinking she was going to get in trouble. Or two, her and Nathan did something with him and her sister. Because there was times when he was at her sister's house and Josh wouldn't call his mom or whatever. His mama would have to call uh, Jessica and say, "Send me a picture of Josh just so I know he's alive."
Yeah.
Where they'd have him knocked out. And and actually my sister has the pictures on her phone where they sent them to her to show her that Josh was alive. And that's how, I mean, even Alicia felt that way. And and the night before they came to Alicia's, and Josh tried to get Jessica to stay there at his mama's because he was sick. His nose was bleeding, and she didn't want to stay. And she told Alicia she was going to take him to the hospital. But we have put out a reward for multiple, like several of my family members has come together, and that's how the money came about. Uh, my brother put money up, and my uncle put money up, and then 5,000 of it was mine. Uh, but that's how we got the $20,000 reward for Josh. That anybody would leading us with information to Josh's whereabouts or his body, they will get the money, no questions asked.
Yeah. That's what yeah. A lot of families I talk to, they say, we don't want to know your name. We just want to know. We want to bring them home. We want to know what happened, and we want, if the case be, bring those accountable for it to judge and get justice. Bring them forth. Has the police department spoke with any of her past cellmates?
I don't know. I know while she was incarcerated in Putnam County, she was in lockdown. She was in protective custody because she got beat up a couple of times. So I don't know if they did or not.
Did that Chris guy actually find out anything to help the family when he was there?
No, not really. Not no more than I already knew. Um, he just rattled their cages, is all he did.
Let's see. Here we go. Why did Jason think he would end up dead if he stayed with her?
Because she kept him messed up on drugs. She would actually keep him messed up on drugs. Josh could get he let me give you an example. When me and Jason picked him up at the hospital and Josh went and stayed at his mom, Jessica was in jail for 2 weeks. Josh was normal. I mean, he was the Josh that we knew and loved. He was normal.
Yeah.
She gets back out and she comes, picks him up, and takes him to Crossville with her, and it was on.
And yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's really understandable. I think anybody can, I mean, that's a pretty general, there's nothing odd about that. It happens. Have y'all reached out to the guy who found the Fosters in Sparta?
Yes, I've reached out to a lot of people at nighttime or during the morning, especially since I've been sick here the past 3 or 4 days. Um, I stay on the computer as well as Jerry Montgomery. He helps me too, and another person on here. Um, one of my best friends. She helps me. My sister Paula helps me. But I stay on there requesting for podcasts, requesting for news stations, requesting for anybody to come and help us search. Which we did have. EquiSearch was supposed to came. They were wanting to come and help search for Josh, but you have to have the sheriff's permission. You have to have a written letter from them,
Yeah,
and that
usually,
was
yeah.
something I couldn't get.
And that is, did he ever give you, was there ever a reason why he wouldn't give approval? Was it just hindering the
No, you can't get approval till somebody won't talk to you.
Oh,
And then I went and I talked
that is
to
true.
the I went and talked to the DA one day, and then I told him,
And your district, this is Putnam County, District 13, right?
mhm,
Okay.
yeah.
So the
So
DA
I
would have
went.
been done right then?
So we were told that the TBI was in on it. So I go to the TBI's office, and they tell me no, Brian Dunaway hasn't asked them to come in. So I go to Brian Dunaway's. I said, so Putnam County TBI, another agency, is in on this. Am I correct? Yes. I said, well, why did I just leave the TBI's office? And they said that they wasn't in on this because you haven't requested. Well, they can't tell you everything. I said, that they can tell me.
Yeah. And that's my biggest issue is, yeah, we get, and I get, and I don't want people to think I'm a naive doing this, is I get there's things that can't be told. But
Hmm.
there is plenty that could be told for families not to be out here feeling like this.
And then there's another uh, thing that where I called because when we got banned, we didn't know who we were supposed to talk to, we didn't know what we were supposed to be doing, you know. We didn't know who to call, who to contact. We got information, and we did have information. We didn't know what to do with it. So I called and left a message for Brian Dunaway to call me. I've never received that call again. He never returned the call. And I told his secretary, I said, I just need to know who we need to be contacting. I said, do we call y'all? Who do we call? And she said, that's a good question. And I've never received anything. Now they have called and talked to Alicia, which I understand them calling and talking to Alicia because that's Josh's mom.
Hmm.
But, uh, and by all means, I hope they do. Uh, but we just want answers, and we want Josh. We want Josh or any other family that's not getting the recognition or the justice that they deserve to be treated just like they would if it was the senator's kid or the president's
Man.
kid or son, daughter, mother, father, whatever. Just like they would anybody with higher standards. That's the way Josh should have been treated. He never got a silver alert, which he should have got a silver alert because he is a diabetic. He
Wow.
should, his when we went and filed that police report, they should have went within
Right
24
away.
hours and started looking for him because he is a diabetic. His life depended on it,
Wow.
and they didn't. The only people that searched for him within the first 24 was his family, and we didn't couldn't get no news stations, no anything.
What
So
was her demeanor when you first spoke with her?
when she first spoke to my sister and Josh's mom, she told them that her and Jason was going to hate her forever,
Oh, wow.
and that's when she told them that Josh was missing. So she knew then that Josh wasn't coming back.
Mm.
Please pray that he
At least the Lord in an affair of the heart, no one can point out bad points. Aaron's Black Widow had the same control. I mean, and you love these people. You want best for these people. I can understand. I don't, that's why I don't dive too much on how these people stay with these people because it gets messy and nothing is ever that black and white. And it's not what these people, you can, regardless of how the outside people view these people. I'm sure Josh loved Jessica. I'm sure he did.
Oh, he worshipped the ground
I'm sure
he
he
walked
did.
on. If you talked about her, he was all over you.
Yeah.
You couldn't say nothing bad about her.
And I think people like Jessica and people like who Lisa's referring to, they know that in these people, and they take advantage of that, and they exploit
He would
those types of their characteristics in that.
I don't care who it was, if you spoke bad to her or hollered at her, he was all up in you to tell you
True
not to be
crime.
talking to his wife like that.
See, yeah, and I believe that. I
He
do.
would. I mean, Josh was
And
a
I think
true.
Jessica knew that in Josh, and she's not dumb.
Uh-huh.
She ain't dumb. True
She.
Crime Try wants to know, and I've wanted to know too. I know there's a lot of petitions going around. Do you guys have one specifically for, even to just say, hey,
Now, Eric started one for Josh and well other people in the group too.
okay, well, will
But
you make sure that you send that to me after here so I can drop that on my page?
uh-huh. But
Yeah,
Eric did start one. Uh, he did start one. It's been back a while ago. I think in October, maybe.
oh, yeah, then definitely send that our way so we can get that out. What does that petition call for? Can you speak at all on that?
It's talking about the 13th district, I think, with Josh and Caitlin, and I think it's Aaron's in there too.
Okay,
Uh,
so it's a big petition. Yeah,
mhm,
because that's done away. I mean, all of those cases are the same DA, and
yeah.
and so yeah, I see why that everybody would group it together. Yeah, I just didn't know if there was one specifically for Josh and his community, his town that.
No, I would like to get something done about, and I've been thinking about this, um, where somebody in Josh's situation, whether they have a warrant on them or not, that they are treated with the same respect if they go missing as any normal person. Um,
Abs-
that's just like when the little girl that went missing here not a couple weeks ago in Putnam County, she didn't get an Amber Alert because she walked away from the home. She was 14 years old.
Oh, wow.
Um, no 14-year-old ain't going to make a good decision.
Mm-mm.
So she didn't get an Amber Alert for that, which was wrong.
Very.
Uh, so I would like some kind of thing to be passed where if, say, like Josh had diabetes and
Yeah.
he should have been had an Amber Alert within the first 24 hours.
Yeah.
And he didn't get one because of his status quo.
Oh, I think that would be a one. Thank you, True Crime Tribe, for bringing that, because I think that would be a very good. Yeah. Um, I call Eric my petition guy, so I'll message him. I'll get on him about narrowing that down for that, getting a petition. I want the group one that you were talking about. I'll
Okay.
have somebody send that to me. I'll drop that too. But to kind of do something, I think it would be very good to bring attention to the fact that he had a medical condition that rendered him to be looked for immediately. And
There's one other thing I want to talk about. I haven't really talked about this in any other podcast that I've done. There was a friend where Josh and them were at their friend's house. I won't name them names,
absolutely
but
not. You never have to.
but they had spent the night there and they had supposedly caught Jessica stealing, and they get up arguing at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then they leave from there, and then what they done after that, I don't know. But Jessica and Josh would take stolen stuff to them, and he told us that they got meth from the neighbor, uh, which this guy was on paper probation or whatever. Um, and Josh and them were arguing there because he said Josh and them were arguing because he couldn't find his Xanaxes and they were in the vehicle or whatever. I don't know. But I feel like with them confronting Jessica about her stealing, maybe stuff was up in the air and Josh didn't like it and something may have happened there. But then again, he was seen on the thing at 9 o'clock. But he went back. I feel like they could have went back to that house or whatever.
Because there's that gap.
But he was he was the one actually sold them the meth. And he told us that the neighbor did it. Well, ding dang, that's one lie.
Yeah.
Well, after this, when he gets out of jail, or when Jessica gets out of jail, he texts Josh's brother and asks him if it would bother him if he messed with Jessica. And Jason said, "Why would you message me something like that knowing it would?" But he asked Jason if it was all right for him to mess with Jessica.
Oh,
So maybe they need to be looking into him.
yes. Yeah. I mean, anybody that's ever watched the IT channel knows that your possibilities of something going to happen goes up when there's a triangle going on. The
Hmm.
stakes are high. Your probability, those are emotions, and I think it's if any type of that situation is going, yeah, start within. But I mean, that's a very good credible lead to be going to run down.
Right, right.
I mean, it makes more sense than in situations like that where you have this going on. It makes a lot more sense than him walking off into the woods
Yeah,
when he has all these people in the immediate area. Everything about it. It just, why are they chasing woods when they have very good people that they could be talking to? Do you think that they think? he was ever at Burgess Falls. I'm searching him for the questions here. Do you think that they think?
No, they don't think Josh was ever there. The police don't. You would have think that if he was even in the proximity of it as much as the park rangers has searched, and then they did a thorough search when the leaves and all the underbrush was down, that they would have found something, his clothing or something. But
I
they don't. They
petition to
didn't find
share for
anything.
search to be allowed. I mean, that would be a good. I really like your idea, your petition. Just for, in somebody like you said, in somebody like Josh's position. I know that there is, she's not from Tennessee, but Alicia Navarro. I've done a few posts on hers. She's an autistic girl. I mean, even adults with autism, some type of concerning issue that they
They
need to
wouldn't
go be
even let
looked
us.
at, searched for right now, right now.
They wouldn't even let us go into the woods behind the house to search.
And why?
The park rangers would. They wouldn't allow us in the woods. But you're allowed to go down there, climb down the rocks, go to the waterfalls, get up on there, maybe fall off sometimes. And you're allowed to do all that, but we weren't allowed to search for a human being.
Did they? I mean, I guess I don't understand. It's it's a local park. So what would have been to stop a whole group of people, say 30 of your closest friends and neighbors and community people, just taking a stroll through the park? Then would they literally go out there and?
Well, this house is before you get to the park. It's part of the park, but it's like when you go into the falls, like you would go, like this house is like right
Up
here,
a bit before you
right
get
here,
to,
and then
yeah.
you would pass it to go to the falls. You go over a bridge and around a curve, and you go into the park. So this house is like on the other side of the park, up on the hill. Say this is the park here.
Yeah,
It's up behind it.
I
So
see.
the people that are in the park are down in the park.
Yeah, I see what you're saying now.
So if they seen
Mhm.
you up at this house, then you
Yeah,
you would be noticed.
absolutely.
And they have no trespassing signs on there, and they have cameras there now.
Was that there before?
No,
Wow.
there was a no trespassing sign in the
But
house window, but
yeah.
there wasn't on like the trees and stuff like they have now. They've got it posted now that you can't be on that property. I even pulled in, turn around there. One of the rangers was leaving, seen me and asked me what I was doing. I told him turn around.
I
You
tell you.
know, right after um, Josh's friend where they stayed and they called Jessica stealing, he moved out of that where he lived like 2 weeks later. He moved out of that place. So who knows where he lives at now?
That is just. So did they I mean search that house thoroughly? Underneath, all around in it?
I have no idea.
I mean, I know that she
I
said
know
that
the
he walked
police
off
went
there,
there
but
and he wouldn't answer the door. And then they called his probation officer, and I reckon he did answer the door.
Mm.
And he says that he gave them video of Josh leaving, but I'd like to see the video.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to see if he if he gave him the whole video or if he just gave him that piece of video. What if he came back after they left the BP or whatever?
I just want to let everybody know the petition has been dropped for the 13th in the comments. If anybody wants to sign it, and I will post it. We will get it posted to the page as well on Facebook. But I really, really would like to get a petition going for, like you said, somebody in Josh's position. When and where was he last seen, and when did he allegedly go missing?
He was last seen at the Gulf Station on June 3rd at 9 o'clock in the morning. He went missing June 3rd. By Jessica's telling us he went missing between 11:15 and 12 is when the park ranger seen her, but he never seen Josh at all. And I
Yeah.
feel like because the park rangers told us that they kept on driving up and down that road, I feel like if Josh was going to come out on that road, that they would have seen him.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't have went deep into them woods because where was he going to go there?
That's what I always thought.
Josh wasn't no dummy. He wouldn't have went deep in them woods. He couldn't have anyway. He wouldn't have made it.
And that's what I've always thought when I first started looking into it. I was just like, for him being diabetic and the area, he wouldn't have made it in the woods more than
Mm-mm.
what,
And,
I wouldn't even say 5-10 miles. And that's that's just giving a little bit of. And my biggest thing is, if he did, they would have found somebody like Josh in his condition, the condition he would have been in a short amount of time out there. They would have found him.
there was on down the road there a couple of miles. There's a campground it's a general store. I won't name no names. We went down there and my sister went in and showed a picture of Josh, and they said, yeah, that they had fed him. That he came in and said he didn't have any money, so they fed him. My sister gave that lady a $20 bill. She said, "Here, I want to pay for his food." And she said, "No." Paula said, "Well, use it for the next person." Well, when you could tell that we were down there, we started our search from there because they told us that they had seen Josh. And the more we went down there, the more we noticed that we wasn't wanted. They didn't want us around. Well, when the cops go to question them, they've never seen Josh. They told us that that wasn't him. Um, so it's just like when the cops comes in, no, we don't know who he is, hadn't seen him, da 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 da. But we stayed down there 3 days searching for him. And even when Jason went up, Josh's brother went up, they thought it was Josh. And I said, no, that's Jason. That's Josh's brother. But still, they said that they didn't do it. They backtracked their story. And the police did go talk to them. And they backtracked their story, which led it back up to the house. So, and we searched everybody's home around there.
Jessica was wearing Josh's size 12 Nike slides.
Yeah, and she wears a size 6 in a shoe.
I see.
She had Josh's Nike slides on
Oh,
that day.
and it's just all just
Hmm.
wow. Now I have a question, and I'm not asking for any specifics, especially as far as the investigation goes. Um, I'm trying to find a way to put this real quick. When was she wearing his shoes?
The day he was
The
missing.
day. Okay, so I guess my question is, if not this area, is there another area or two even that you would have suggest in searching? Don't get, I'm not asking for address in a street and look at, but in your mind, are there a few more places that could be searched besides Burgess Falls?
Uh, Myself personally, I don't know except for
Just between knowing where
yeah.
I'm asking just like you said earlier, in reference to where he was last seen on at the gas station on the way to Burgess Falls, like anywhere in between.
I would say the park and ride. I mean, um, Jer another thing that we question is Jerry reached out to her sister's ex-boyfriend and talked to him, and he told us that Jessica told him that she put Josh out on South Road and that he left walking. So, see, there's another story.
I
And
guess I was just trying to see, from the gas station point of view to Burgess Falls where she ended up,
I mean, there could
all
have
the
been.
possible places, like what route, like you said, you were saying that she was iffy on the routes she took. I'm just thinking about all the areas around there that could have been, that would have, should be more looked into than Burgess Falls.
I looked, or we were actually, me and my sister was talking about it the other day, going to search the parking ride down there. It's on I-40 and 111 right there. Uh, Going to search that area there. There's a bunch of homeless people that stay over that way. But what if she did go down 111 to Sparta, if she went that way? But then again, I think she went the Burgess Falls way because at 5:13 in the morning, she was down at A&J Market, which is near Burgess Falls, at 5:13. She bought $1.67 in gas on a cash out. They wasn't open, so she had to do it with her card to get it through the pump because you
Yeah.
can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was back in Cookville. My thinking is there's some reason other than going to Burgess Falls. They wasn't going down there to go to the damn
Yeah.
park,
Oh yeah.
because they were down there twice that day. So he's either in that area or she knows what's happened to him
Yeah.
because she was down there at 5 o'clock in the morning and then she comes back to Putnam County and then goes all the way back down there. Now there's a reason she was down there,
Yeah. Do you
and
know
she
if
knows.
Josh was down there with her at that time in the morning?
Yeah,
Oh,
that was after they left their friend's house.
okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there was a reason
Yes.
she was down there, and she knows the reason. And I pretty much got. I don't know if I could say I got it, but I know some of the reasons they might be down there,
Yeah.
down that area. But Jessica knows. She's not stupid. She wants to
Mm-mm.
play stupid. She ain't as stupid as people think she is. Because she tried to play me saying that she didn't have anything to do with Nathan. That didn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, Jen. Meaning he wouldn't have had any shoes on if he left, which doesn't make sense. If she was wearing his shoes, he walked into the woods with no shoes.
She had, I know at the store he had black and white Nikes on. And we've asked several times if she had his slides on at the store.
Isn't there an old mine cave across the pipeline bridge at Burgess Falls?
I have no idea.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you
I
coming on here,
appreciate
and
you.
I can't imagine how difficult it is for you guys to come up here and speak and tell how you're feeling, because it can be intimidating and scary, and your guys are pushing all of that aside to speak on their behalf because they can't be here to speak for themselves, and that's incredibly brave.
I just want Josh's story to be told. And I mean, me and Paula have to help with Josh's mom. And she calls every day and asks us, why did Jessica do this to my baby? She knows. And she sits and she cries herself to sleep. She cries all day.
I tell everybody, I know I'm on the outside and saying this means nothing, but I don't think I could get out of bed, and just saying that, and just me thinking that knows the incredible amount of strength it has to take to do just that. And I understand the strength behind it. I do.
We always petted Josh because he was so sick. And he was such a kind hearted. He had done anything for anybody, even her. He let her treat him wrong.
And I do not doubt that. You know, this whole domestic violence issue, it goes both ways, and it's mental, and it's not just always physical, and it can really take a hold. And people like that know the weakness in people like Josh, and they exploit that, and they take advantage of that, and they use that. And I'm not saying Jessica didn't at one point love Josh. I'm sure, there, but I'm sure Josh loved her and seen the best in her, seen things that even maybe some of us to this day never seen in her. And that kept him there. That kept him with her. And nobody can fault him for that. It's not him that should be faulted for that. It's seeming to be Jessica that we need to be reminded of. And I tell you what, if my husband ever went missing,
I wouldn't have left. You
there would
know,
have been no way. You would have never left me. Got me to leave those.
I don't care what she says. I wouldn't have ever left. I would have told that park ranger, hey, my husband just ran in the woods. I would have never left. Somebody said, did they retract? They seen it on the video. No,
Yeah,
they.
I seen that. I know, and then the comments up. Actually been trying to. There it is.
n-
I just found it. It was True Crime Tribe. Didn't
No.
they react?
Did they
They
retract? They didn't get him on camera. No, they didn't get it. They did get him on camera at the golf because my brother watched it. He went to the sheriff's department and watched it. but they didn't get him on any other cameras. We went down through there on that road and looked for people that had doorbell rings to see if we could get anything, and we couldn't. They, which everybody down there was really nice, but then there was some sketchy people too.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet.
A lot more than I thought. But we have, in Jessica's statement, she said she went across the bridge and knocked on a door at a house to ask them where the gas station is so she could go get gas. We have yet haven't found the house that she went to.
Mm.
Because me and my sister Paula's been down there knocking on them doors.
Mm.
There's not nothing that we haven't done or we've not left.
Do you feel like the investigators have done any of these same things that you guys have been out there running down doing?
I did hear that when Josh first went missing, they looked into somebody's house. I don't know whose house they went to, but they were supposed to search the house. Is what I was told, uh, and I have no idea why.
Yeah.
And Josh gave her a necklace, and I should have brought it up here with me, so I should have showed you. I have that necklace. She told me she would never pull that necklace off. It's a heart, and it says something on it. I think it says wife or something. And she left that with her book at my brother's.
Oh, wow.
She sure did.
It just seemed like she didn't want to take any, like you said, she wanted to just scrub it all.
She wiped away her whole life with Josh. I mean, she gave her kids away. She gave, God knows where Josh is. We don't have none of his clothes, nothing. We don't even have a sock that belongs to him.
What happened to all of that?
She left his stuff at her sister's house and they got rid of it. Got rid of it all. They'll have to answer to the good Lord. And they better get on their knees and pray because they're headed for hell wide open.
And it just makes you wonder because if you look at, this isn't a Tennessee case, but the Susan Moorfield case, she was the mom that went missing on Mother's Day a few years ago, and there hasn't been a body, but that husband is sitting in jail and going through trials right now because they had so much circumstantial evidence and all of these pieces of this puzzle enough to put that man on trial. And to this day, they still have not found her body.
Well, you see it
And
all the
it
time
makes
with
you
people getting
wonder.
tried when they can't find the body, but they still have enough evidence.
Yeah. And
I mean,
it just,
her family never ever called us and asked us if they needed to come down here and help us search. Not her sister, not her daddy, not nobody.
is he not in jail? I'm sorry. He's not in jail anymore. Oh no, that is right. He got out on. I do remember his girls walking out from their courthouse and taking him home. You are right, absolutely. But still, they had him in, and they still haven't found Susan's body. But they found the bike down the road around the corner, and they knew that it was a relationship, and they had all these pieces, and they didn't have her, but they are assuming that she is no longer with them, and they have a trial. And I just, you look at cases just like Josh's, and you wonder what the different, I would like to compare notes to what these investigators have found to what those investigators, and and see the difference, why the same wouldn't apply for somebody like Jessica, where you have all these pieces and what she did after and what she did before and what she didn't do, and yet she's hasn't been brought on. Has she ever been brought on charges in
No, they
no,
haven't charged her with nothing. I
so
mean, they could have even charged her with abandonment because she abandoned him at that house, knowing he had a medical condition that he couldn't do without his, and she took his medicine with her, knowing that he had to have it.
and that's just it's crazy. I mean, in the Morphew case, you had some messages, yeah, but by all accounts, she was, wanting to leave, and next thing you know, she was gone, and there was nothing. I mean, nothing that I've seen that, like, evidence wise, that would clearly, like, all of it is just, there was some casings in the. It's just nothing that would, and it just makes me wonder what's holding them back from seeking out Jessica as a more serious person of interest than
I don't
a
know,
reliable witness, I guess.
maybe they are doing something. I don't know.
I hope.
More behind the scenes, maybe they
I
are. I hope, pray they
oh,
are.
I pray hope so.
But they sure ain't said nothing if they have.
Mm. And
And
and that's where yes, I understand that delicate balance of where they have to keep some stuff. But man, you can't have families out there telling people y'all are doing absolutely nothing if that's not the case. Then you have to give them something to relieve their insecurity and the worries.
right,
So, I mean, who can we it's up in the air on who.
I know that we can call White County and they'll talk to us.
Yeah.
Uh, but they're like they're not as big. They don't have a big as agency as Putnam County does.
Mm,
But at least they do try.
yeah.
I have to say that much.
They sold they sold his belongings. Her family did a yard sale after the weekend Josh went missing.
Yeah, they did that on June 11th.
Oh,
It's like these people planned a perfect murder.
I mean, I'm not trying to say nothing, but at least Gabby Petit or the laundry. Goodness, I forget his first name already.
Right.
Laundry. His parents didn't. They had the good sense to not host a garage sale after she went missing.
Yeah, they I seen where her sister asked her dad's girlfriend if she could put some stuff in there. She so she put the stuff in there. And we've asked for Josh's stuff several times. And then she told it was Jessica took it with her. So I asked Nathan if it was there. He said no. The only thing Jessica took was, or Jessica brought there, was a cracked phone, women's clothes, and a purse.
So that thank you, Kelly. That's a good one question, but could not give a piece. They never. Was there anything for the dogs to?
No, and we asked for that the day when he went missing. We asked for that. My sister even told her we'd pay her for it.
And she wouldn't.
No, wouldn't meet us, wouldn't do nothing. And then we found out the reason she didn't want to meet us or whatever is because she was taking Josh's gabapentin that Josh had for neuropathy. Her
Yeah.
sister stayed messed up on his gabapentin. And then she told us somebody broke into her house and stole his medicine. Nobody stole his medicine. She took it.
Which, I mean, is not that far-fetched to believe, and I
You
I
know, we just want the truth to come out, and we just want Josh to be found so we can have closure in our life. And we, the people, hired Brian Dunaway to do a job, and he needs to do his job. And he needs to, if we don't have a body, then he needs to prosecute Jessica. He needs to do his job that he's failed on so many levels on so many people. But I don't feel like the man has feelings, if you want to know the truth. Because that day I went there, all he did was smirk, sit there and
mm,
smile. I don't know if that's him. It's the first time I've ever seen the man or been around him. But I don't know what. I thought you're supposed to have a compassion for people when you have this job.
I mean, I think that was the most mind-blowing thing out of all of this is just hearing all of you repeatedly say the trash that these people talk to you. It's disgusting how they what they say. And these people are supposed to be, they that was a decision they made. They took an oath. They are supposed to serve and protect. And I'm sorry if you get phone call, and everybody wants to say that they get desensitized. Like it's an
Mhm.
excuse or reason. And I tell you what, I was an STNA for 10 years, and you know how many residents attacked me, and I'm a fighter. So you know how many times I just wanted to hold back out and defend myself. But
Right.
you can't act that way. You can't. There's certain things that no matter what job you have, you can't do. And I feel like talking to the families the way that they do is one of those jobs or things that you just cannot do with what you're doing. If not, if so, then that is not the right job for you. It's time for you to stop. Then, if you begin to talk to families that way, then I think that's the first day that you need to realize you need a new career.
Yeah. That's just like Courtney Cash's mom. Look what she's been through.
Yes.
And Lisa, and we're going through, we've just started our nightmare. She's been going through it for years, her and Lisa have, you know.
And my
She
heart just breaks.
and you would think that these people would have a boss that's over them, but you can't contact nobody about them because they won't listen to you.
Dunaway is evil. He says he answers to no one. They have a statement in Aaron's case. Never went out in 10 months to talk to those who gave statements. Dunaway thinks he is God. Yeah. It sure sounds like they get to pick and choose. Pick and choose around there. I offered her money to bring the cans so Josh would know the car and would come out.
Yeah, my sister offered her gas money to drive down there, so if Josh was in the area, that he would know that car, you know, and she wouldn't even do that. My sister offered to pay her, uh, and it was all about her.
I mean, it seems she seems to be a very selfish individual.
She said he was a grown ass man and he went running. He's missing. She has no sympathy for it at all. I mean, she wouldn't even come down there to help us look for him. If that was your brother in law, wouldn't you be down there helping?
almost feel like if it was roles were reversed and say Jessica was missing and this was same scenario, same everything, I feel Josh would have also been spoken to as more of a person of interest, and it would have been talked about a little bit more if it was roles reversed. I also
Yeah, if it was roles reversed,
Mhm.
Josh would have been stuck up underneath the jail.
Yeah, I do. I firmly believe that if give take this exact same thing, he would have been done.
Yeah, he wouldn't even see daylight.
I really yes, and I do agree. I do, and just hearing you talk, like I said, I've been following loosely for months, and I've kind of had my foot in there because of just my grandma, and that's what really just my heart knew that he did not walk into those woods.
Mm-mm.
With I mean, he didn't leave period nowhere without his medication. That's what it came down to for me. It just
And if Josh had, he would have called us. I'm telling you, he would have called us.
there's just
If he had to flag somebody down on the side of the road, he would have called us. I just know how he is.
it just never made sense. And now now hearing you and being able to talk to you and figuring it out some more of the details, I firmly believe and firmly agree with you on the fact that she was maybe looking for a clean slate.
Mhm.
I do.
See, Josh, one time it was like at 1 o'clock in the morning. They had run out of gas on Buffalo Valley coming up I-40. It's a hill. He calls me at 1 o'clock in the morning, gets me up out of bed to bring them gas. Now, I know him. I don't care if it was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever. He would have called.
Oh, here we go. Um, True Crime Tribe says, I'm sorry, I think this was talked about in group, but Jessica was transferred to another jail, right? And why there again, finished sentence for the first thing.
She had charges when she got out of Putnam County. She had charges for stealing in Crossville, Cumberland County. So she got transferred there. And I reckon she got up in front of the judge and said she needed out so she could go look for her husband that's missing.
Mm.
And they dropped all the charges. She don't even have to pay nothing. So from there, she had a failure to appear warrant in Overton County, where she has charges there. She was supposed to went to court today. I don't know what happened, uh, but she is not going to go use my nephew as her reason for getting out of jail. 'Cause if I have to call every judge that she goes in front of, I'm going to.
Hmm. No matter what your job is, always go back to the rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Josh is a good hearted person who would have always called his mom or brother.
He had the prettiest smile. He had dimples. He was so cute. He'd help anybody. He'd give his shirt off his back to anybody. I hope
He's
he, I hope he haunts her for the rest of her life. I hope she every time she lays down, his face is in her eyelids. Yeah, he had pretty eyes.
They said these families are opening up a lot of questions and opening eyes of the citizens, and it said it took all these families coming together. The services haven't even been scratched yet.
You're
And they
right,
are,
Lisa.
they really are.
You're right.
I told Lisa, Lisa Key in the chat, you guys. That's Aaron Shane Key's mother. If you go on the channel, there was a few episodes that we've done on Aaron. It's crazy, and I mean, all of you guys coming together just shows one thing that you guys. And I told her, I said, they might be able to shut one of you up, maybe even two or three, but y'all come on and y'all start talking, and then y'all come in they're not going to be able to shut you up. People are going to see that Lisa Key's not just some crazy mom with a son in Tennessee and she's just trying to cause, it's happening. It's happening. And all of you guys coming together is proof that it's these things that you guys are talking of, they are
Mhm.
happening, and it is very plausible and very capable.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, it's kind of like a pencil. You have one or two pencil, maybe even three pencils, you'll break all of them. But you get a whole wad of pencils, a whole and rubber band stand together. It's going to be pretty hard to break those pencils, all those pencils. And
Yeah.
that's what you guys need to be. You guys need to come together and stand together, and they won't be able to break you. You guys aren't crazy. And it's
No,
not just a fluke case here and there that got, whoop. It's seeming to be very deliberate and very. Somebody needs to come in and clean it up.
yeah. They need to be called out, and some people just too afraid to speak up.
Yes. Oh,
Uh,
I've had people message me, before they start talking to me. Who are you? How are you related to this? Well, I've got family up here, and I'm just like, I promise I am absolutely nobody. I just want to help, but they're scared. That's how
yeah,
scared they are, and it's I know corruption. My little corruption here happens. It happened, but that's why I keep telling everybody I've never seen anything like Tennessee. Tennessee's a little different.
yeah. A lot of people afraid to speak up, afraid
Yes.
they'll hurt somebody's feelings. I don't care whose feelings I hurt when it
Mm-mm.
comes to my loved ones, my family, my kids. You'll see old Mama Bear come alive.
Mm. And that's what I told everybody. So you guys have been doing all the work. I just wanted to give you guys a place to all come together, and let your stories be known, and see what's really going on.
No, it's if everybody keeps quiet about what's going on in our community, who's going to be the next victim? Who's going to be the next person? This shouldn't be happening, period. We shouldn't be having to do this, period.
At all.
And I
That's what
understand people go missing and people get murdered, but you took an oath to do a job. Now let's do it. And if it's too much for you, you don't need to be there.
they sweep it under the rug because of who they are in small counties. It's sickening. No matter what people have done, they are still human and they deserve justice.
Yes,
Absolutely.
you're so right. You're so right. It's your
And I think,
status quo.
everybody gets caught up on, what these people were doing, and if they agree with it and their lifestyle choices, which that's irrelevant. It doesn't matter because they deserve. I can tell you, I have very, very dear, close people to me right now that are dealing with addiction. And I promise you that if they went missing or that they were murdered tomorrow, I would be it's heartbreaking to
It's
know
in
that,
all
that's
families.
all that it takes for them not to matter as far
It,
as they're concerned. And
it's in all families, and people
yeah,
are embarrassed by it. Don't be embarrassed by it. Speak about it.
that's not in situations like this, that is the least thing that we need to be worried about right now. We need to worry that the people that have made them disappear or the people that have murdered them are out there right now. And that is what we need to focus on.
God wants us to be the hand and feet of Jesus. If we sit down and shut up, we're not going to get nowhere. That ain't what God intended us to do. He wants us out there to help people that can't help themselves. That's why I'm being Josh's voice. There's a reason that something that drove Josh to do what the drugs that he was on. There's a reason. Just like there is anybody else. Nobody woke up and said, I'm going to be a drug addict.
Amen. I mean, I've mentioned this before. I was a partier back in my day. I will never, you know, offend anybody and call myself an addict, but that I mean, I very much could have. There have been close calls where I could have, and some people it's just not that easy for. But I'm not an angel. I was out there. I was tabletop dancing, taking shots, and loaded with a bunch of different things in my system back then. And that's why it just well, we've all been there. We either know somebody or have been there, and maybe it didn't go to that extreme, but it's just the least factor that should be out there. And
We have no idea what demons people fight in their head.
yeah,
I
it hit a
mean,
lot.
we have no idea. So instead of people downing people, they need to be reaching out a hand to people to help save them.
Our focus is just off,
Hmm.
and it needs to be put on. The reason why we're even talking about Josh right now,
Hmm.
not the drug, none of that. The reason why we're here today, and the people that may have information on where he is, that's where we need to keep the focus at.
I pray to God that we find out some information of where he is. You know, I was hoping when we up the reward, we'd get more information, which we did get some. I have to say that we did get some, and there's some things that we can't talk about. Uh,
Which is, I'm happy that you have stuff that you cannot talk about.
um, but if it gets investigated, is the other thing.
Yes.
You know, you can have all the information in the world you want,
Yep.
but it ain't gonna do a bit of good unless it gets investigated. And who, they can say they have, or they can't. They say they didn't find nothing. Who's to know if they did?
And that's another thing with Tennessee. And I've been telling everybody, I really want to know more about the Holly Bobo case out of this. Not so much of, and I know, and when I look up what I'm trying to find, all I find is, I guess in her case, they did do something with the age and lowering it back then and whatever, which really today we can see really didn't make a difference.
Right.
But also, I want to know more about it because the investigators that investigated that screwed up so bad that they literally had to make a law that protects them when they screw up. That pretty much says when they screw up, they don't have to show you where they screwed up at. And to me, that's lawless land right there.
That's wrong.
That's lawless. They can go do whatever. I mean, I can't use that excuse if I ever.
No, because if we screw up, we get held accountable for.
But they are the ones that are supposed to. They swore an oath, and they're supposed to protect. So for them to be the first people that are allowed to hide, they are trained. They were trained. I mean, they are. Let's be honest here. They are trained in knowing how to have somebody disappear or murder. They're trained in those exact areas, and they don't have to show any mistakes.
Right.
And
Right.
so I'm really trying to know a lot about that law. I want to know the details because it should be repealed. It should be tossed out. They should have to admit. They should have to show when they screwed up. They're human too.
Right. Just like we all are.
Yeah. And I think
No.
right there, I'm not saying that's what started it all because there I feel like Tennessee had some corrupt individuals way before Holly Bobo, but I feel like that whatever happened in that case and gave them that law allowed
Mhm.
them to just really run wild.
Yeah.
And it should not be, you should be able to get 911 transcripts. You should be able to get information. And you should be able to say, well, you screwed up here. Can I see?
Right.
You should be able to.
I can't
It's
even get the
crazy.
missing persons report from Fulton
Yes.
County, which
It's
is crazy.
crazy.
Let's see. Josh's mama said to tell everybody thank you. Josh couldn't work. He tried to leave. Yeah, Josh did try so many times, and he get aggravated. He gets so disheartened because he couldn't work.
Oh, I can understand that. Just yeah.
He gets so disheartened because he wanted to be normal just like everybody else.
I seen Lisa. Lisa the Lauren Aggie. Is that how you say her last name? I apologize if that wrong. Her case reminds me a lot of from what I'm hearing of the Holly Bobo case. It
Yeah,
just reminds me a lot of how bad they messed up.
yeah. Or an Aggies.
Age is it Aggie or Aggie?
Aggies.
Aggie. Okay, I apologize. But yeah, they and I've told Lisa and I've told a lot of anybody on that billboard would be a good place to start for families to come talk. But I don't want it to be limited to that billboard. So I've been trying to figure out. I know Terry Sullivan is on
Mhm.
that. Brandon Hood. Um, and I would really like to.
Brandon Hood's mom used to work at the sheriff's department.
Yeah, yeah, which is crazy.
She worked
Which
there for
is
many years.
crazy if you think about it.
Uh-huh. Has the billboard went up yet?
I think it was supposed to come up. I know I was talking early this week.
I don't know. I haven't been out in town much. Been
I think it was supposed to be early this week. I don't know if Lisa's still on here. I know that she'll know for sure.
Lisa, is the billboard up? You saying nothing?
Paula, I would love, I mean, if they would ever just not even to speak on, I understand the privacy of people, but geez, if I could even understand um how those officers became in the position to be able to protect themselves on what they did. I just want to understand what it all means. I don't really know too much about it, and I would love to know how those officers were able to protect themselves. I would very much.
She said the billboards this coming week.
Yes.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. I am. I want somebody. I've been trying to have people cuz I'm in Ohio here. I want to put feelers out for when it is up to
Uh-huh.
somebody take a video for me and send it in because I want to put it up because I'm very excited. I'm very happy.
Oh, we will. If I don't, I'm sure Eric will.
Yeah. Yes. Him and Brian will be on tomorrow night because they're going to come on and they're talking about the writing and getting papers across these officials' desks and the DA's desk started. There's a in the Tennessee group. He has these, little letters for 13th district and the list of the cases, and he sends them to the the sheriff's office, the DAs, the judicial, all of those people and all that side. And so they're coming on tomorrow night to talk about that side. And I want to start having people take what he does for the 13th and start doing it for all of your districts.
Right.
And, as much as we're blasting the Facebook and YouTube platform, we need people that are going to be willing to start taking these, and I'll have it shown up tomorrow. Printing them off, tweaking them however they see fit, and starting to mail these people.
Right.
Boom, boom. If we could get everybody to do that, it would be awesome.
Yeah. Volumes
Mm-hmm.
speaks when you do it.
Then they won't be able to say
Volumes.
they can't see us, because
Right.
we know they seeing us over here on my YouTube channel. So now they can't say that they ain't seen us on their desks. So, well, we'll be talking about that side tomorrow night, and how the different ways people out there can really get involved if they really want to, and go beyond sharing the YouTubes and the posts, and actually go out in their communities and start making a difference. Bomb these people.
Yeah, you would think that knowing that Jessica was the last person that was with Josh or seen him, that she would be the one accountable for
Yeah.
him. Because she's the only one that knows what's happened because she was the last person with him.
Which is crazy.
And so it's all right for somebody just to vanish off the face of the earth and they believe everything she's saying.
And it's just, and then you have families speaking. And it's just,
And when they catch
it
her
just
in so
appears you
many
take her
lies,
word over what we're trying to, the families are trying to say. And
and they say she's lying. Okay, what makes you think that she ain't lying about that?
yeah.
And she continues to lie and gets by with it.
Mm.
I don't know. Maybe we'll find out something soon and we'll have some good news to tell.
I hope so. I really do. Oh, here, let me see this pop up. Have you ever received a copy of her sworn statement that should have been in the report from Jessica?
No, we ain't sort of received a copy of nothing. We did get a missing person report from Sparta, but we couldn't get one from Cookville. That's the only thing that we have got.
And it's February, June
Yeah,
will
it's
be a year.
yep, a year, June 3rd. It's crazy,
It is very, and to
but
still be here. What?
I won't let it. I won't. I won't let it die down.
Oh
None
no,
of my family with us. There's too many of us. There's too many of us.
Victoria said that's if they have it, it's public record. So they should see, and that's
They won't. Which they haven't made it into a criminal investigation, but as long as it's a missing person, you're supposed to be able to get it. Unless it's a criminal investigation, then they won't give it to you. But they haven't made it into a criminal investigation as far as we know.
yeah.
Which it should have been.
That's what I was gonna say. Which by all everything I've It's just crazy. And, I can't help but to think, and I don't like to get all political and talk about that, and that's not why I'm saying this, but
Uh-huh.
it's just crazy that they want to say, doing this and getting information out hinders the investigation, or there's not enough evidence. It's all circumstantial, but isn't it kind of crazy that they say that, but this comes from the same like the same system and the same people that can put innocent people in prison
Mhm.
with no evidence
Yeah,
to put them there. So for them to say, "Oh, well, there's just not enough evidence," and it's also, you know, then how did an innocent man get put in prison if that's the case?
that's right. It's very well right.
So I just think it's a bunch of bullshit and whitewater, or and what you said. It comes down to money
Yep.
and cost.
Yep. They ain't making no money off of it. It's costing them money, which I'm sure that they have an allotment for certain things to do in the department. But if that allotment ain't touched, and they don't spend a lot out of it, that's probably their reward money. I don't know.
Yeah, it just makes it's crazy.
Yep. Alrighty then. It's
Yeah.
been good. I thank
I
you for
will have
doing
this
this.
posted. It'll be up there. So I mean, Vickie, if you see any questions or people comment, you just feel free to,
Okay.
and you let me know if anybody's being mean to you, and I'll ban them. They won't ever get this
Okay.
opportunity again.
All right.
All right. You have a good night. And like I said, if my door, I tell everybody my door is always welcome. If you get off here and say, you forgot to speak on something, you just let me know and we'll set a date for you to come back.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. You have a good night.
All right.
Bye bye. Oh, I appreciate everybody being here. That was very good. Like I said, I've watched from afar, but I didn't really know too many details, and I don't really like to until I get a chance to speak with the family and those closest. And I'm really glad I did. I learned a lot tonight, and I'm sure everybody will see my posts that I'll be making on the page, and we invite you to discuss like we did tonight, and just keep it respectful. And that just keeps the awareness out there to me. I appreciate everybody watching. And if you would like to know more about Unraveling Tennessee, go scope out my page and my YouTube channel. You'll find more episodes there, and very much hope for more to come. We have been running down the Gainsborough 4, and I'm really hoping to get the parents on panel with me here soon. So, yeah, I encourage everybody to stick around and stick around tomorrow night because, like I said, I'm the loud mouth that runs the stories and makes the posts. But there are very, very hardworking people on the other side that you could be supporting and really getting involved in your communities and the 13th district as well. And so I'm going to have some advocates from the Tennessee group come on tomorrow night, and I will have what I call my petition guy now on too, and we can talk about all of that side, and they'll be better to speak on it than I would. So I encourage anybody. We will have papers I will show, and you can give me your email. I can send them out. We can really start that going and start getting them hitting those desks. So, but yeah, please stick around for tomorrow night. It should be very insightful, and I am going to be learning a few things myself. So I'm very happy they agreed to come on. And I that will be it. If you guys have any questions for Vickie, like I said, keep dropping them and she will come scope it out and get those answered for you. Please share and help spread that awareness and get that out there. And hopefully we can get that LE to, light some fireworks under that ass a little bit faster. Hopefully this information that she says that she is new, they will investigate it and not have a choice. Let's spotlight them. So this is Ash with TC Spotlight. Until next time, you guys stay safe and you have a good night.